Hello everyone, welcome home to my freak show. Huge shout out to one of my favorite channels and accounts at Late Night Snacks 123 on Twitter for this breaking news. So please check out their Instagram and YouTube channel for the same information. They live stream every single day on their YouTube channel. So if you need some excellent social interaction about the things that you love, but at a safe distance, then check out some yummy late night snacks. Link to their channel is in the description. Now guys, it is official. 2020 has finally gotten better because the Queen himself, Ryan Murphy, said he's writing parts in AHS Stories. Well, I need to get used to saying Stories now, for Cody Fern and Dylan McDermott. Now, in the Instagram post where Ryan reveals the poster for Stories, Ryan himself commented, and I quote, "At Dylan.McDermott. Gonna have some good stuff for you in this, Big Daddy," end quote. Then in a separate comment, Cody Fern commented 2 hearts and a little cute fire emoji. Then Ryan replied with, and I quote, "At Cody Fern, writing something for you too, Mr. Fern," end quote. Now guys, on the count of 3, close your eyes and try to picture Cody and Dylan in this brand new world by Ryan and Brad. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Cody and Dylan. See what I mean, guys? 2020 is like actually getting finally better. This is awesome news. I mean, I sincerely hope that Dylan and Cody have clear schedules so they can participate in the new series. But guys, I really needed, some kind of American Horror Story news from Ryan to get me through life until the show premieres. We all need something in the middle of the day to propel us into the rest of the day, whether it be candy, news, drama, hanky-panky, or whatever blows your skirt up to make the bad shit that happens to us seem not so bad. And finally, for me, we get a huge taste of American Horror Story and now American Horror Stories. So let's speculate shit based on what Ryan said, because it's my favorite thing to do. Now, I'm not sure if anyone knows this about our favorite tearjerker, but Dylan McDermott has his own American Horror Story that happened when he was a child. Originally born as Mark Anthony McDermott, he was born October 26, 1961 to Richard and Diane McDermott. Richard was only 17 years old, Diane was merely 15. Dylan was merely an infant when his parents divorced, and his father, Richard, went on to marry 3 times. His third wife, Eve Ensler, is the author of the Vagina Monologues and would go on to become an instrumental part in Dylan's life. His mother, Diane, started dating a man allegedly involved in the mob. On February 9th, 1967, when Dylan was merely 5 years old, his mother, Diane, was allegedly murdered by her boyfriend, John Spinoza. Dylan claimed that he was told by Spinoza to go outside the night of February 9th and wait for him. Dylan did not have a coat and was completely terrified. Soon afterwards, he heard a gunshot inside his house. Now, Spinoza initially said that Diane was accidentally killed while he cleaned his gun. Then he changed his story and said that Diane just out of nowhere just ran into the kitchen, took the gun from Spinoza, ran into their garage, and just shot herself out of nowhere. Now, poor Dylan and his baby sister were kept hidden from these tragic facts by their grandmother, maternal grandmother. Now, they were kept so protected by her that they did not even know that their mother was dead until 1 year later. Police did try to prosecute Spinoza, but sadly there wasn't enough evidence to put him in jail, and back in 1967, as you guys can tell, DNA was nowhere near evolution at this time. So the case was marked as an accidental shooting. Now, Dylan and his sister lived with his maternal grandmother until his teens, when he went to go live with his father and Eve in New York City. Eve encouraged Dylan to pursue acting, and Eve was so close to Dylan as like a mother figure that she adopted him years later. Guys, these two were so close that after Eve lost her baby son Dylan to a tragic miscarriage, Dylan took his name as a stage name to pay homage to his baby brother. Lord have mercy. Brains, beauty, and empathy. Please, Lord, stop making these men so damn sexy. Wait, what the fuck did I just say? Then, in 2011, ready to face old haunting memories, Dylan contacted authorities in his hometown about reopening his mother's case. However, the original case files were missing, and John Spinoza was murdered in 1972. Investigators wanted to give Dylan some kind of closure, so they interviewed old witnesses, took a look at old public records, and they did determine that based on the information that they had and based on what Dylan told them, they concluded John Spinoza did in fact kill Diane McDermott on the night of February 9th, 1967. Now, guys, I am absolutely not insinuating that Ryan and Brad are going to somehow exploit Dylan's tragedy and make it part of the show. Ryan and Brad are not insensitive pricks. However, what happened to Diane McDermott and the tragedy and trauma her children and family endured afterwards is a real American tragedy. Dylan has explained many times since 2011 that he is now allowing himself to process the trauma of his mother's death and accepting the fact that his mother's killer will never face justice. Yet, as a personal note, I do want to say that Spinoza was murdered and shoved into the trunk of a car. So even though I'm sure Dylan isn't going to see justice about his mother's killer, I'm sure he also wasn't unsatisfied about John's outcome. You know what I mean? But if we're watching American Horror Stories and we see a story start out with a little boy locked outside in the cold while monsters murder his mother inside their house, then say a little prayer for Diane McDermott and all the women just like her. Good women who deeply love their children and suffered at the hands of their partners. Now, guys, to be honest, I mean, it's possible Dylan would give his permission for Ryan and Brad to use his story as a way to heal from the trauma inflicted on him by Spinoza. But, I really doubt it. I mean, the only reason I bring up the theory is because artists, actors, writers, creative folk, they use real life experiences to express themselves or as a basis for a story. I have certainly done it many times myself as a writer. Now, even though the odds are slim, Ryan does love to focus on mother-son relationships, and I mean, it would be one hell of an episode to see how Ryan and Brad use the real-life murder of Diane McDermott as inspiration for an episode. So, what are your thoughts on Dylan's tragic childhood? Do you think it's possible that Diane McDermott's murder could be one of the storylines in an episode of AHS? Sorry, I need to learn how to say AH Stories. Let me know in the comments. In his Instagram post, Ryan references Dylan as Big Daddy. Now, am I the only one who thinks that Dylan might appear in AH Stories as the Rubber Man? I mean, the rubber suit in the promo pic, Dylan being told by Ryan that he's writing something good for him, referencing him as Big Daddy. I got total Purge meets Murder House tied in with cult and Gimp vibes when Ryan said that about Dylan. I can totally picture in my mind Vivian putting hooks inside of his body and hanging him in the attic like some old shameful secret. Okay, so what if in an episode, in a brief moment, Emma reprises her role as Madison and she'll go check on the murder house and check on the ghosts, and she'll find Ben Harmon hanging in the attic in the rubber suit by day, and at night he's Vivian's bitch. Now, in my humble opinion, that would totally be worth revisiting Murder House for. Quickly, I'd love to give a shout out to those that support my channel, so don't be a dick about it in the comments. Thank you so much to longtime patrons R2, Gary Gerald, Mike Gedney, Dawn Ford, Alicia, Mia, and baby Jalen George, Tammy Sifford, S. Mark S., Quais Najif Ali, Diana Fitzgerald, Irish Melly, Deep Thinker and Hogwarts Pupil, Miss Bellatrixa, Cami Schultz, Michael Mullins-Wright, and as always, the baddest bitch of them all, Debbie Ebby. I am so excited to have Cody and Dylan possibly part of Stories. Cody is outstanding in everything he's in, so I'm excited to see what kind of character Ryan writes for him. Do you guys think that Cody will reprise his role as the Antichrist in the new show? I mean, say what you will about Apocalypse, but Cody really did rock the role as a whiny, teenager filled with angst with a devilly twist, Michael Langdon. And besides, all of us just really wanted to know what happened to the little murdering son of a bitch. And at least we got our answer. I mean, I think it's possible that Cody could return in a small cameo as Michael Langdon. However, I don't think the 16 individual episodes are going to necessarily feature old storylines from American Horror Story, only briefly mentioning them. But I think it would be absolutely great to see Michael Langdon in American Horror Stories. I mean, I think for just maybe like one brief scene, but it would be pretty awesome to have AHS Stories as its own standalone series with small touches of AHS intertwined into some of the main episodes. Because, I mean, my prediction, or more along the lines, I guess, of just hoping, that Ryan and Brad are taking real unsolved mysteries and placing their personal touches on it, and, such as relatable characters, plot twists, haunting scenarios, and so on. I mean, we already have Creepshow, Black Mirror, Twilight Zone, just so many shows that feature short horror or sci-fi individual episodes. So Stories has to stand out from those kinds of shows that are just dominating the ratings right now. You know what I mean? And what would be more perfect than featuring a true crime from America in every episode? I mean, maybe even providing a conclusion at the end of the episode like they did with Elizabeth Smart. I mean, Elizabeth Smart. Elizabeth Short, what am I thinking? Oh my God, Mary, get your mind in gear. Now, can I just insert this and say that I wish there was like a world horror story or something like that? Because there's so many interesting, scary, and just straight up sad cases all around the world, and they all certainly deserve time in the spotlight so they can be solved. I don't know about y'all, but I definitely watch that. I mean, can you imagine that Ryan and Brad taking on cases like JonBenet Ramsey or the murders of Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. in just a single episode? I mean, and guys, don't comment that it would be disrespectful of Ryan and Brad to bring cases like that to the show. You obviously don't remember Cult, where the Manson family murders were practically reenacted, or Murder House when Elizabeth Short was killed by Dr. Montgomery, or Coven when the Axeman was looking for the victims and ended up being killed by the Coven, and so on. So guys, true crime is exactly what American Horror Story is based on. So it would make sense that Ryan and Brad will take real American unsolved mysteries, place their spin on them, and send them out to the world for us to watch. And of course, criticize. Now, again, I have goosebumps just thinking about the possibilities of the episodes being real cases, hopefully with maybe some conclusions, either ambiguous, fairy tale, or, whatever. I would even take like an Archie and Rock Hudson fairy tale ending for some of these people. Just whatever. So what is your opinion about Stories, and what kind of episodes do you think they're gonna write? Do you think they're gonna use cases? Do you think they're gonna make things up? And if you do think they're gonna use cases, what is some of your favorite true crime cases in America that you would love to see Ryan and Brad tackle and put their spin on? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Don't forget, I don't have one square of fuck to spare if you like or dislike my videos or subscribe to my channel. But please drop your comments and theories below. Love to you all, and of course, beware as always of sexy Scathitch lurking her sexy ass around your house. OG Supreme still hasn't quarantined that for JJ.
Beware of sexy Scathitch.